Brilliant. Welcome all to the Cabinet meeting on Wednesday, the 16th of October. Nice to see you all here. We'll start with agenda item 1, apologies. Any apologies? Audience? Nope. Brilliant. We'll move on to agenda item 2 then. Any declarations of interest? No?
Just on the master plan, obviously the board member. Nope.
Brilliant, thank you, Councillor Dan. And if anyone notices that they need to declare an interest during the course of the meeting, please declare so at that time. Okay, thank you. Agenda item 3, minutes from the previous Cabinet meeting in September. Can I please move them as confirmations of true record? Councillor Druitt, seconder?
Yeah.
Yes. Any other comments on the minutes? Any person want to make any corrections? Okay, great. Moving on to agenda item 4 then, which is the council's social value outcomes in our procurement, which is me. This is the second report of the outcomes delivered through our Newport social value measurement tool known as Newport TOMS, which we adopted in the spring of last year. The TOMS mean themes, outcomes and measures are a mechanism for reporting on social value delivered through our procurement of goods, works and services. So i.e. what social good have we derived from our procurement of our works. The purpose of the report is to highlight the achievements made through the second 6-month reporting period between November 23 to April 24. This is some of the background is that this was this framework was developed by the Welsh Government as part of the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act in 2015. We followed that framework in conjunction with the WLGA. As I said, this is the council procuring goods and services through the long-term contracts. We identify the measures applicable to those areas and the companies that deliver these. As part of our tendering processes, we will deliver against these measures, for example, number of jobs sustained or created or apprenticeships created. These are an integral part of our tender submissions, which are then scored in conjunction with other quality and price criteria as part of the normal procurement process. For the second reporting period, between November 23 to April 24, a total of £9.4 million worth of social value was derived through our tenders undertaken during this time. A large part of this total is made up of employees hired or retained to work on the contract that live within the boundary of Newport City Council. The value of these is this represents 7.1 million of those hired in the council area. One major contract awarded for the delivery of domiciliary care services across Newport, which is approximately 300 full-time equivalents. Staff provided the service equates to some £8.7 million worth of social value out of the 9.46 million outlined ahead of the report. Another highlight in the report is all of the contracts measured demonstrated that staff engaged on the contract paid at least the real living wage foundation rate as opposed to the basic national minimum wage. So more staff hired in the city boundary at better pay. Put that in human language. In conclusion, I asked the Cabinet note that the contents of this report, the achievements made and the demonstration of the added social value of our contracts that brings to the wider community and evidences our commitment to the well-being of our future generations. Does any Cabinet member wish to say? Councillor Porter.
Reiterate some of the points you've already made, really. That it's really good that our projects use local people and local products to deliver for us and people of Newport. So I think it's a good scheme and I applaud it.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Lacey.
Yeah, just similar to Councillor Cordy, obviously with the domiciliary care, the work that's been done on the contract, to secure, a secure contract and to provide, I think, looking at these numbers, 6.6 million out of 7.1 in total. And we know that a lot of our care is now being done at home rather than in our residential homes. So it's really good to see that a lot of our carers paid carers are from the Newport region as well, that are looking after people within the Newport region. So that's nice. There's always that link rather than people coming in from, particular field to work on the offices.
Brilliant. Thank you and the officers for that hard work. Councillor Lacey. Any other comments? Right, can I have a proposal and second? Councillor Davis and Councillor Lacey. Right, is that Okay.
Yep.
Brilliant. We'll move on to agenda item 5 then, the strategic equalities plan and report 23-24. Councillor Patrick.
Speaking on the annual report 23-24 strategic equality plan. Under the Equality Act 2010, Council has statutory duty to report annually on its progress against equality objectives contained within our strategic equality plan, alongside staff equality data. And this report represents the final report on the Council's third strategic equality plan. In compliance with statutory duties, it provides an overview of the progress made towards the meeting of our quality objectives in the final year and throughout the delivery of our strategic equality plan 2020-2024, which ended March 24. The report highlights significant achievements and details the progress made during 23-24 and throughout the delivery plan. Thus, it is a historic look back at the actions undertaken against each equality objective during delivery of strategic equality plan 2020-2024. The Council's Overview and Scrutiny Management Committee reviewed the draft report, and their comments are included in the Cabinet report. Areas to note: key highlights throughout the delivery of this plan include training and policy changes, inclusive leadership training for senior leaders and reviewing various HR policies, including wellness and work policy, socioeconomic duty. Responsibilities under the socioeconomic duty have been embedded in council processes, including strategic decision making. Workforce representation. Established 3 staff equality networks for underrepresented groups and launched the new People Plan 23-28, which sets out the Council's vision to have a representative, supported and engaged workforce. Gender pay gap and gender equality, as you've spoken about, Leader. Closed the median pay gap and increased female representative in upper pay quartiles. During this reporting period, we also developed our new strategic equality plan 24-28, which builds on the work delivered in previous plans and identifies our priorities to achieve our vision of a more equal Newport for the next 4 years. Council's new equality objectives strike a good balance between internally focused objectives based on self-reflection and externally focused objectives aimed at improving equality in key areas. For example, representative workforce, customer service, digital inclusion and access. The Leader and Strategic Equality Group, including member champions, have been instrumental in ensuring the Council meets its statutory duties under the Equality Act and supporting the Council's equality work internally within service delivery and communities across Newport. I ask that this Cabinet considers this report and recommends it to full Council.
Thank you, Councillor Drew. Any comments? Councillor Davis.
Thank you. The equality objectives really matter, not just in their focus on leadership and governance, but importantly on their focus on inclusivity. It's not just about supporting those with protected characteristics, but celebrating and standing up for those where there's still not a level playing field. Newport City Council recognises this has to change, and we have to lead by example. Taking an evidence-based approach to this is key, and it's great to see the links to the work and policies that have been developed by Welsh Government. Finally, I need to say that our staff equality network groups are absolutely brilliant. And so huge thanks to those who've made this happen, and the support they offer to our employees is second to none. They really are functioning well.
Thank you, Councillor Davis. Well said. Councillor Howell.
Thank you. I just wanted to flag up again, as is mentioned in the report, that a lot of the face-to-face services are available at Newport Central Library, because I know that's quite important to a lot of residents, that you can still go somewhere, speak face-to-face to someone, they can help you with what you need, and that a accessibility has improved, so disabled access has improved, so potentially people have tried before, found it difficult, but you know, it's worth trying again now. So I just think it's worth highlighting that.
Thank you, Councillor Howard. Any other points? Councillor Lacey.
Yes, I just wanted to speak as the outgoing LGBT champion and just to say a big thank you to some of our officers who work above and beyond the day job, specifically Joe Chambers and John Vitale. But Janice Dent is chair of something called Fast Track Newport, which was onboarded last year, almost a year we've been running. And she recently spoke at a conference in Edinburgh. It was called the Celtic, I think it was the Celtic Collection or the Celtic Coalition, where so Fast Track England, not excluding Fast Track England, Fast Track Scotland, Ireland, Wales, came together, and Janice actually spoke about how we're an exemplar city, basically, how we onboarded the project so quickly. So like I said, she went above and beyond. She sits on these, she sits on the committees out of hours, as do a lot of our officers. But this fast track is saving lives. So it's part of the Welsh Government initiative to end transmissions of HIV by 2030 by increasing the uptake of obviously testing through different communities. So more hard to reach communities. So the work that they're doing, just wanted to sort of highlight that really on the record. Just give a big thanks to Janice and the team. We're now moving into fast track Went, where we're bringing in the other local authorities within our area. So it's a really big and really important piece of work that, you know, our officers are saving lives basically. It's a really big thank you to them.
Yeah, spot on. Well said, Councillor Lacey. Exactly.
Leader, yes, just to place on record my personal thanks to the staff networks. I meet with the chairs and vice chairs of some of those groups, but there's a lot of work that goes on in the authority that would not happen without those staff networks. I think some of the deputy leader or Councillor Lacey saying, you know, they're not paid for these roles, so that gives us a level of assurance and independence from those representative groups in terms of how we are forming our policies. And Councillor Lacey is absolutely right. The time and effort that goes in over and above the day job from the networks is absolutely brilliant. So, you know, just to place my personal thanks on record as well, Leader. Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, as previous cabinet member for Equalities, I had first-hand experience of the networks who are doing a fantastic job. And I actually really welcome our continuing support in equal pay, which is fantastic. Council's been fantastic in that area, increasing female representation at higher grades. We still have a work to do around ethnic background individuals in higher grades to reflect the ethnic makeup of the council. So there's still work to do. We're not resting on our laurels, but this is great progress, and thank you, Councillor Druitt, for your hard work in this area. Any other comments? Can I have a proposer and a seconder then, please? Great. Moving to agenda item 6, annual corporate wellbeing assessment, self-assessment. This cabinet report on the council's annual corporate plan self-assessment for the financial year 23 to 24. This report provides a self-assessment of progress against the corporate plan and the extent to which it has met the statutory requirements outlined in Local Government Act and Wellbeing of Future Generations Act. The report is presented to the Overall Scrutiny Management Committee and Government Audit Committee in September. I attended the Overall Scrutiny Management Committee as well and answered some questions on some of the questions the members raised. Feedback from both committees has been considered as part of the report. Overall conclusion is that the council has continued to make good progress against the corporate plan objectives, but there are continuing risks and challenges, and I will highlight some of them across frontline services and social services, housing and education. 7 out of the 9 recommendations were completed. 2 actions have been carried forward in the 24-25 action plan. There are 5 actions for the council to implement in 24-25. The final report will be presented to council in November, and will then be published on the council's website, Welsh and English, supported by a public version for residents to digest. It's quite a meaty report with lots of pros and targets and percentages, so we'll put it in a more readable format. At this point, does any cabinet member wish to raise any issue highlighted in the self-assessment? Councillor Davis.
I'd actually like to praise the team, I felt, for the caliber and quality of this piece of work. I thought it was especially quite easy to access, very accessible for all. I think any member of the public could pick this up and actually really see exactly what the council's doing, what's doing well, and what the objectives are, and what more work to be done. I really thought that was a huge piece of work that we can actually be proud of. An easy, comprehensive read. I wanted to say specifically, though, our education service has been mentioned several times, and the spotlight is not just on our ambition for continuous development and improvement, but actually describes excellence in teaching and learning in many of our schools. I can actually say this with a great deal of confidence because I know that the local authority team know their schools well. This was evidenced by Estin, who have recently undertaken 25 inspections across our schools since 2022, and none are in special measures, whilst 11 schools have been asked to prepare one or more case studies describing best or innovative practice. Scanning across Wales, I'm aware of only one other authority who has no schools in special measures, and that's Monmouthshire. Whilst the number of schools being asked to write up best practice reports is absolutely unheard of. We have so much to be proud of, and this includes our ongoing building programme, which includes the recently opened basic new building and the LRB unit in Round 1, specifically designed for young people with a neurodivergent diagnosis who live in the east of our city. And against this are excellent outcomes, not just in our Cap 9 GCEC results, but also in attendance, where in each case our results measure favourably against Welsh national averages. Moving on to the working environment of Newport City Council, the focus on inclusive organisation with the publication of the Council's people plan is also a notable piece of work within the last year. The focus is on the Council's vision to have a representative, motivated and engaged workforce, which not only supports the delivery of the corporate plan, but creates a culture of collaborative and effective working in Newport. This is an important principle as we develop and strengthen our social partnerships.
Thank you, Councillor Davis. Any other comments? Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Leader. Yeah, just briefly, looking at the documents which we've got, I think, like Councillor Davis mentioned, it's really positive. There's a lot of positivity here. I'd like to just touch on selfishly 3 areas. I think so where it's mentioned about and needs to be highlighted the projects that this council has supported through the SPF funding, well over 60. But what's key about that is the range. Small businesses, large businesses. But what that links in is also the communities, Newport communities, I think, which is really, really key. Then we've got the placemaking plan. I think what I need to say here is that the placemaking plan, which is mentioned, isn't about one individual's view. It's about the residents of Newport's view and the businesses of Newport's view. And that's really, really key because this is going to be really important in years to come, this placemaking plan. And what we've done is involve the residents. What we've done is involve the businesses. And as I said, it's all been launched, it's all moving forward. And I believe in this meeting and possibly in full council, I can't quite remember, but we've launched a cross-party task force on this as well. So that's really important. Finally, it's about the partnerships we work with. I don't think there's a stronger sort of look on that as when you've got the Pill Master Plan. That's really, really key about the partnerships involved in there. So if you sort of sum it up, you've got the residents involved in this, the businesses, large and small, you've got the partnerships, and they're all mentioned in the documents. I really think that should be noted and the positivity that will bring. So thank you, Leader.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. Councillor Howells.
Thanks. I just also wanted to touch on because asset rationalisation was mentioned a few times through the plan, and also I think there's often a bit of misconception about asset rationalisation, that we're just looking to sort of divest ourselves of all our assets, and that's not what this is about. And there's a lot of work streams and officers working very hard on this. It's really about optimization. That's probably a better word for it in the end. It's about looking more deeply into our assets and understanding them and understanding what their best uses are for the council and the community. you know, where the biggest maintenance backlogs are, you know, and how you best deal with all of that. So that might mean, for example, purchasing a freehold rather than continuing to rent it at a cost like Tredegar Park, or it might mean repurposing some units where it wasn't, you know, being used to its maximum potential, converting that to shared space or commercializing it for an income. You know, so there's all sorts of considerations that go into asset rationalization. You know, there's also kind of a complementary element of assets to the climate change program, you know, because there's a lot of discussion about that in the report as well. So I think it's just sort of wanting to make everyone aware of the true meaning of asset rationalization, that it's not just I'm going to sell everything, because that's not the intention at all.
Thank you. That's a good point, good distinction to make. Any other comments? Councillor Pawson.
Thank you, Peter. I'd just like to follow on from there with, you know, agreeing the comment about being able to buy Tredegar Park for the city was absolutely excellent. One of the most joyous aspects of my portfolio has been all the play parks that we've managed to refurbish. And you know that is ongoing, and really when we've been given funding like SPF funding, what excellent work we can do. You know, the play parks, which it's been my pleasure to go and open many, has been absolutely joyous. And I think, you know, it's so great to see the children you know, having these new facilities. But we've also got the work on the canal which is coming along, and very importantly, as you'd expect from me, all our work towards net zero and the decarbonisation programme. And really, when we have the funds, we can do excellent work. Thank you.
Absolutely, and I hope the Chancellor Richard Reeves is listening. Give us the funds, we'll do the excellent work. Councillor Lacey.
Yeah, just quickly from me, just relating to wellbeing objective 3, but strategic priority number 3, which is with supporting individuals to maintain their independence and support crisis intervention. And I just think want to bring up the opening that we did at the Smart Hub about 2 weeks ago actually, and which is moved from the market to the library, but the use of just small pieces of technology that doesn't, I think the one that they mentioned that was quite expensive was actually £1,200, and it can mean that keeps somebody in their home and not needing one-to-one all the time. It's just really small tweaks, you know, asking Alexa to close your curtains, getting a screen there so people can pop up and talk to you. Really small little bits of intervention, which is the prevention that costs us. Well, I think there was a big saving. I wouldn't want to quote it on record, but we did mention that how much just putting these small bits of technology in, say, in the tens of thousands. So just a really big shout out to the Smart Hub and the work that's going on down there, because it's really, and I definitely tell anybody to go and have a look at some of the stuff that's down there, because I might get some from my home.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councillor Lacey. Councillor Druitt.
I just want to highlight what a positive report this is, and some of the statistics at the beginning of the report. Newport is the fastest growing city in Wales. It's doing so well, and this report will take that growth even further. And I think that this report's to be commended and recommended. I support the report.
Thank you, Councillor Druitt. Any other comments? I thank cabinet members for all their positive comments and highlighting some of the amazing work our officers do. It'd be remiss of me though not to mention our challenges. You know, we're as a, I won't say a new administration, but a new cabinet, new leader, we've always been upfront of what the issues we face. So we've got a lot of positives, a lot of amazing work, a lot of partnership work highlighted, particularly around the city centre regeneration. But one of our key challenges is housing. We're facing acute pressures in our housing area. There's no point kind of hiding that. We know it's leading to enormous challenges to our team, who do a tremendous job under huge pressure. I know Councillor Dan and it works closely with the team to address some of those challenges, and officers are looking at more innovative ways to deal with it. But at the end of the day, it comes down to building more homes to match, as Councillor Druitt highlights, which the census has shown us, which I've been banging on about all the time, as we are the fastest growing city by a margin. It's important to remember, double of Cardiff of our under 16s as well, over 10%. That means will play a greater role, be careful words in relation to Cardiff, a greater role in Wales's economic life, be it economic growth, be it the future tax base of Wales, if you look at those population statistics. But that brings huge challenges to the city around many areas, including children's social services more generally, and particularly housing, which is something we have to face, but we can't face alone. We need the Welsh Government, we need Westminster as well to recognise these challenges, not unique to us, but Newport has a particular issue in relation to matching the services to the population growth we have. And it's important to recognise that. On that conclusion, to approve the draft annual corporate plan self-assessment and recommend it to be presented to the full council. I think Councillor Druitt, you sort of posed it, if you are willing.
Sure.
Councillor Carter second, if that's okay. Okay, agenda item 7, Gwent Wellbeing Plan Annual Report. Lots of annual reports today. This annual report cites progress in the Gwent Wellbeing Plan and covers the period July 23 to March 24 and sets out the progress of the Gwent Public Services Board against its plan, as required again by the Wellbeing and Future Generations Act. The Gwent Public Service Board, otherwise known as PSB, were established in October 21 to enable Gwent public bodies to collaborate a long-term integrated manner to enhance economic, social, environmental and cultural well-being across the Gwent area. The PSB is agreed is the first regional wellbeing plan covering the period 23 to 28 in July 23 and was approved by Newport Full Council in February 23. The recommendations within the wellbeing plan align to the recommendations in the Building a Fairer Gwent report as part of the Gwent becoming the first Marmont region in Wales, working to reduce health inequalities across the region. As I mentioned earlier, Newport alone or no council alone across Gwent can face the challenges it faces. Many areas of growing population like us, and other areas growing populations of certain demographics, putting huge pressures on particular services, and only together, working together, collaborating together with health, can we face these challenges and address the challenges that we all face, but also meeting the expectations of residents in these areas. So this report mentions the establishment of the PSB, the challenges and the opportunities of working together. Notes the local activities to support the implementation of this wellbeing plan and supported locally by us in our One Newport Partnership local action plan, which I chair and was really, enthused to experience. Was it a couple of months ago? Time flies in this role, where working closely with partners, and I really want to emphasise that this is not about the council always taking the lead, always driving things forward. It's about working with our partners, like health, like our social landlords as well, stepping up to the plate, leading in areas, working collaboratively with us to drive through the reforms we all need to meet the expectations our residents expect. And I mentioned this in my first speech, becoming leader, that partnerships is the only way forward. If residents expect the council to do it alone, or our partners only expect the council to deliver this alone, it can't happen. The issues are beyond Newport's boundaries. It has to be a collaborative piece of work across all the public sector organisations, and as Councillor Clark mentioned, private sector organisations as well. This is not an either or, it's about working together where it makes sense. And I think building on the One Newport, where we can work closely and supporting the Gwent PSB as well in helping to achieve its aims, I think is the only game in town, and that's my view on it. Any other comments? No? Okay, I asked the cabinet to note the contents of the annual report and approve its publication in line with requirements of the Wellbeing for Future Generations Act and the previous agreed wellbeing plan arrangements. Yes, that sounds human. Approve. Any approval? Councillor Davis, second. Councillor Howard as a seconder. Great. Moving on to agenda item 8, Sustainable Communities for Learning Programme. Councillor Deborah.
And another positive report. The Sustainable Communities for Learning Programme provides capital investment to improve educational facilities. The second wave of the programme, known as Band B, commenced in April 2019 and will be completed by the end of 2024 when the projects at Whiteheads and St Andrews Primary School are handed over. The original Band B programme that was approved in July 2017 identified a list of proposed projects within a funding envelope of £70 million. This funding envelope was later increased in principle to £89 million to reflect the new project at St Andrews Primary School and a programme realignment which resulted in a small number of low priority projects being removed to enable funding to be reallocated to more significant schemes. Although construction is still ongoing at Whiteheads and St Andrews Primary School, the Band B programme has in effect come to an end. This means that the planned project of clear and comprehensive and the new primary school at Great Milton Park we moved into the next investment window, now referred to as the rolling programme. In addition, 2 projects which were in the original programme have not been progressed following a review of the strategic fit in line with identified investment priorities and now need to be formally removed from the programme to enable the funding allocated to them be utilised in existing projects where cost pressures have been experienced. These cost pressures have arisen due to a number of factors, including inflation increases and the scope changes that have been agreed in order to achieve national and local aspirations, including net zero carbon commitments. I ask this Cabinet considers approving the reprofile programme outlined in the report, thereby enabling the funding allocated to specific projects to be increased in line with latest cost estimates, and in doing so, formally ask for the removal of the 2 withdrawn projects. I'd also ask this Cabinet considers agreeing that the saving on the overall Band B programme budget can be allocated to support the new phase of the Sustainable Communities for Learning scheme to be known as the rolling programme, thereby increasing the funding envelope that's previously been agreed.
Thank you, Councillor Davis. Any comments? Councillor Davis's. Councillor Dan.
Yeah, just on the Whitehead School. Firstly, I'd like to declare an interest there. I sit on the governing body for Phil Primary School. But there's also a visit actually scheduled for today, which unfortunately I couldn't go to. And it's absolutely amazing because I mean I was out on site yesterday to view the housing development, not the school, so to speak, and just to see it from a glance, it's you know, I can't really explain it in words really. Getting emotional, let's just say. Just to see, I think that hopefully completed and all the keys to be handed over by the end of the year. Be great for you all to be there on the day, really.
Thank you, Councillor Dan. Any other comments? Councillor Lacey.
Yeah, just similar to Councillor Dan, I'm really happy to support closing down Edison and reallocating into Killian and Great Milton because I'm a governor on Baysleg and my children go to Baysleg, and the school now, the new school is just phenomenal, similar to what you're saying. So we've gone in the days where the children sit there with their coats on for their lessons, and you know, well, you guys, the leader and the chief secretary and Councillor Davis were at the grand opening a couple of weeks ago, again another couple of weeks ago. But you know, you can see that school, the change in the pupils' behaviour. You know, they take pride in their school now, and that's a big difference. They look after their school. Obviously, it's since September, so we're looking. It's still quite new to be able to see the actual outcomes, but the well-being and the mental well-being of those children going to that school, they care. Full credit to it. So yes, definitely allocate that fund so it can go to the end of the school that are going.
Fantastic. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Drury.
Positive report this is. Lots of school new builds and additions to what's happening, and yeah, you've got to look and see, well, okay, this money doesn't need to be allocated here. We need to move it into a different category and use it for well-being of the children of Newport. This is a really positive report.
Any other comments? I'd just like to add, well, this demonstrates our commitment to our schools. On top of the 600,000 we've already committed in supporting our schools, our secondary schools in their revenue. We visited every school, Councillor Davis and I. So this is another demonstration of our commitment on the capital side. We are fully committed to Killeen Comprehensive. We visited the school. They need a brand new school. We're committed to that politically, and that's what our determination to do that as part of the rolling programme. Councillor Lacey mentioned Baysleg. What a day! I mean, that was just incredible, wasn't it? The staff, the children. It was an absolute pleasure. It's a facility that every child in this city should have, and that is our determination to deliver. Not in the short term, because that doesn't happen like that, but it's our commitment politically over the long term, building those facilities, give those facilities to our children across the city, of whom Killeen is one of the biggest priorities for us. After visiting it and seeing the issues they face.
Yeah.
On that, do we have a proposer and a seconder? Proposer, Councillor Druitt, and seconder, Councillor Lacey. Great. Moving swiftly on to agenda item 9, the work programme. I move that Cabinet accept the forward work programme. I have a seconder. Councillor Clark, Councillor Davis. I therefore conclude the meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you for all your attendance. Great, thanks.